Attention to all American citizens. If you have any trips coming up where you're going to be flying overseas, out of the country, then this is a video you need to pay very.
So there are multiple people online sharing their stories of how they travel out of the country, but when they get to customs over there, Interpol told them that their passport was flagged as stolen or lost, even though they're saying they didn't report their passport for stolen or lost, so they didn't know how that happened. So they weren't allowed to go in said country, so they have to deport them back to the United States. So I'm going to show you these videos right now.
I was deported from Thailand, and it's because the American system is failing you in a way that you don't even know about. So on December 28th, me and my girlfriend fly from Miami, Florida to Doha, Qatar to Bangkok, Thailand. And upon arrival, I go into immigration and I'm told that my passport is flagged as lost or stolen by Interpol. So in case you don't know, the only way that it can be marked as lost is if you yourself mark it as lost. You need your social security number, your birth certificate, you need all of your personal information to mark it as lost. I did not do that. So here I am, about as far away from the United States as I could possibly be, with an invalidated passport flagged by Interpol, International Police, to which I did not know about. I'm then told that I am not allowed to enter the country and I'm detained until I am back on United States soil. So I'm getting deported with an invalidated passport that I used to book 6 international flights, and I got on 2 of those international flights with an invalid passport. And I know for sure that it wasn't a mistake, it's actually invalid, because when we got back to the States, customs told me that it was lost, and it was marked lost 1 month after I got the passport. So this means I didn't even have the passport in the mail yet, and it was marked as lost. But I got it, and then 6 months later, I used that invalidated passport to book 6 international flights, and I got on 2 of them. So they had no more information for me, so I contacted the Department of the State, like the department of the government that's responsible for this. And they said they have no idea what I'm talking about. They've never heard of this situation before, and they tell me to go to another department. So I called the National Passport Information Center, and in their system, it's not marked as lost. There's no problem with my passport from the National Passport Information Center. They told me that different departments handle the application of your passport, and there's a completely different department that handles whether or not it's lost or stolen. So hours on the phone later, with the only 2 departments of government that are responsible for this, I have no information as to what happened, except I'm told to send a physical letter through snail mail to a random government P.O. box, and maybe they'll know what's happening with me. I spoke to the airlines, I spoke to an immigration lawyer, and what I've realized is that getting on a flight obviously does not do a full check of your passport, meaning that the only way I could have possibly known that my falsely flagged passport was flagged was to go through international immigration services in a different country. And they let me get on 24 hours of flights to be as far away from home as I possibly could be to find this out. If you're watching this, I sincerely hope you understand just how freaking dangerous that can actually be. To be totally clear, this was one of the most traumatizing things to happen in my and my girlfriend's lives. We are financially damaged, we are emotionally scarred. It was a horrible experience. However, we're back home, we're safe, but my concern is somebody a lot more vulnerable could go somewhere a lot scarier by themselves, and you would be stuck in a situation that you cannot come back from. So just as another reminder, if your passport is flagged by international police, you are still allowed to get on an international flight. This is not okay. We spoke to the airlines, they said it's not their job to check that. Why? Why is that not checked when getting on an international flight? The responsibility of an airline and our government, to an extent, is to ensure the safety of people getting on a flight. And they're not even doing a full check of your passport when you're getting on a flight. So how can they say that we're keeping us safe? So I'm not making this video to complain about what happened to me. I'm at home and I'm safe. I am making this video to spread awareness that this could happen to you, and you could have no idea that it's going to happen to you until you're in a dangerous situation. At this point, I have nobody to contact. I am resorting to emailing and sending letters in the mail to my local representatives, my state representatives, and I'm almost at a dead end and don't know what to do about it. If you or anybody that you know is involved in government or agencies or international affairs or even the airline, please show this to them, because I am literally at a loss at this point. The airlines don't give a shit about me. Every single government agency I've talked to don't give a shit about me. The people at the airport don't give a shit about me. So if you understand how dangerous this situation was for me and how dangerous it could be for you and other people, please give this a share and get it where it needs to go.
I was supposed to be deported from Rome, but thankfully was not, and I'm going to go ahead and explain what's been going on with my passport in a non-vlog style video. So I originally did it in the form of a vlog because I thought that this is a hilarious situation. The circumstances are unbelievable. Like, who would this happen to? I thought it was just me. No. So I got tagged this morning on a video where somebody experienced the same thing a week apart in Thailand. And so now I'm not thinking it's so cutesy funny anymore. Now I'm thinking that there must be something going on. And so I'm going to go ahead and explain the different details of my situation. And I'm curious to know if there are a lot of overlaps with people who are experiencing a similar thing right now. So as of right now, I've only seen one other video talking about this. I'm sure there's more, but welcome to passport not lost or stolen side of TikTok. And so everything was normal. I was able to leave JFK with not a problem in the world. I land in Rome. They tell me that there's an Interpol alert on my passport. They say that it was reported lost or stolen. Now, I'm a frequent traveler. I showed them other proof of my identity. I had my passport card. I had my license. I showed them literally everything I had. My birth certificate, like, I keep that on me. So I end up being able to go through customs, but I need to go to the embassy to get a new passport. So I am grateful that I'm able to go to the embassy to get this passport. As promised, I go to the embassy first thing Monday morning to deal with the situation, and they're able to tell me that in their system, somebody reported my passport as lost or stolen on an MTA bus back in November. Now, that person was not me. I made it very clear to the person, I don't take the MTA bus. However, I'm also a frequent traveler. Why would I have reported my passport as missing and then decided to go on a trip a month later? It was not adding up. And so she believed my story. I ended up having to swear this entire thing under oath because that is something you do at the embassy. And I was charged $165 and sent on my way with my emergency passport. Although the embassy was great, it was not really an opportunity that I could just prompt them with a whole bunch of questions. I asked them, they said they didn't know. They said that they didn't have access to certain information, but on their system they could see that it was reported online in November by I'm assuming somebody else, because it was not me. I asked if there was a way that the system cross-references information. The woman did not know. And ultimately I was left unsure if this was just an accident or if this was somebody trying to steal my identity. And so ironically, on my way home, I have my emergency passport, and guess what? I get stopped by the JFK police there. And so I have to explain to them what happened. They look it up in the system. They can confirm that that's what the embassy had documented, and I'm good to go on my way. My first full day back is Friday. I start my day off going through all of the paperwork for what I have to do, because now I need to fill out paperwork for a new passport. I have to pay $60 to expedite it. I have to pay $30 for a passport card, and now I have to pay $12 to ship that all out. So I go ahead and get that done, and then I start unraveling the mystery of who could have possibly reported this and why. So I call the passport agency and I'm like, hey, this was reported by somebody, not me. So what can we do about this? Who reported it? And they essentially tell me that once the passport leaves their hands, that it's out of their hands, that they're not responsible for that, and they don't have the information that I'm looking for. So at this point, who has the information that I'm looking for? I'm at a loss. I did reach out to my House representative and I called them to confirm. I said, is this even the right tree to be barking up right now? And they said yes, that they are able to advocate on my behalf. However, it's unlikely that I will get a refund, which is truly nonsense, because at this point I'm paying $300 for the state not even confirming that I was me and that somebody was just able to void my passport willy-nilly. The way that the woman explained it at the embassy, it kind of seemed like, oh, it must have just been like a mistype of numbers, but at that point, why are we not cross-referencing the other information that is put into that form? So this morning, now we're going on to essentially week 3 of dealing with the situation, I call the embassy again, and I'm like, hey, Can you please email me to confirm all of these things happen? Because I had to swear under oath, essentially. I made my statement. It is a legal statement. You have the most information on the circumstance. Like, I need to know who filed that, when did they file it, why did they file it. Like, at this point, the embassy is the group that has the most information, so I emailed them. And I spoke to them this morning asking for me to receive that information. So hopefully I do get sent that information, but at this point, it's a waiting game. I've also had to go through all of the effort of going to protect my identity because I don't know if this was malicious. I don't know if they have all of my information, my name, my birthday, my social. I was not told this information. So now I'm just floundering, and I'm ideally going to have my passport, in time for my next trip. But at the end of the day, my passport should have never been canceled by somebody else. And again, I made it in a vlog because I thought it was like, ooh, silly, goofy. But this is like serious now because I have a trip and other people are being affected by the same thing. It cannot just be me. And I'm sure this has been happening before, but the fact that within like the last 2 weeks that this is happening on TikTok alone with me and other people, it's insane. I'm also going to remind you here, when I spoke to both the police in Rome and the police at JFK, if there's anything that I can do on my end to make sure it doesn't happen again, they said no. Is there some type of system that the average person can access to check if their passport is still valid? Still no. If I'm incorrect in any of this, I would love to hear it. I am still actively waiting to hear back how my representative will hopefully represent me and help me out and solve this problem. But clearly at this point, it's more than just me. And although I am a lucky girl, other people are not so lucky. I think the only thing that I have not done yet, and I'm going to be doing today, is looking into the Freedom of Information Act. Because at the end of the day, it's my information. How are you going to tell me that somebody filed a report on my passport with maybe my information and not disclose that to me? So I'm going to go ahead and try that avenue too. I will keep you all updated if anything actually works. Fingers crossed something will. But I'm putting this information out there, so if anybody has a similar situation, that you at least have this as a baseline. And just as a final wrap up, I love traveling. It is my passion. I hope I can travel the world for the rest of my life. But the fact that a complete stranger can go ahead and void and cancel my passport and I not be notified is absolutely insane. So I just want to make you aware of the situation that could potentially happen. According to Reddit, this is like being struck by lightning. So the goal is to just not be struck by lightning again. But if I get any additional information, I will absolutely let you know. If you have a trip coming up, don't be scared. I'm sure you will be fine.
Been voided. Remember, I made a video and I said, I believe, my theory, I have no proof, but I believe the Iron Curtain goes down after the World Cup. When the World Cup is over, that's when America will show its true face. It can't do that now because it needs all these people to come to America and we need their money. So it's either the World Cup this year or the Olympics next year, but one of the two, the Iron Curtain is coming down. And once it comes down, you will find out that wall in Mexico was never to stop the Mexicans from coming in. It was always to stop Americans from leaving. Don't forget, up to 5 Americans so far. 5 different Americans have gone to Canada to request asylum, only to get arrested by the Canadian police and sent back to America. So if you go to Canada thinking, oh shit, everything is scary, I'm gonna run to Canada. Nope. Canadians will arrest you and send you the fuck back. Y'all don't understand what's going on. This is the time for second passports.
This is incredibly alarming because American airlines are allowing Americans to leave, not checking their passport's validity. They are then arriving internationally only to be informed while abroad that their passports were marked lost or stolen. And with everything going on with the American government, I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that's just happening right now. This was literally one of my worst fears, which was why I applied for for dual citizenship and why I also got a second passport, because of this exact thing happening. I had a fear that the US would retaliate in some way because of the way they were forming the bills, which was why I kind of was like, looks fishy. And now Americans are actually having experiences with this.
So I think before you travel now, because now, before you just check the date in your passport to make sure it's not expired or it's not about to expire or whatever, or your passport is not damaged or anything, because you have your passport in your hand, so you're good to go. You just book your flight and you go. But I think because of all these stories coming out now, I feel like before we travel or before you go anywhere, just take the extra step by calling the passport office or whatever it is that you have to call to make sure your passport is good to travel. So that way, when you get to your destination, they don't send you back or tell you your passport is flagged for lost or reported stolen. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think this is scary. I don't know what to think. I don't know if we should be worried because why are they canceling people's passport? Like, why is their passport being flagged by Interpol as missing or lost? If They claim they didn't do it. So if they didn't do it, who did? Is that an error in the system that is like fragging people passport or something? I don't know, but just make sure if you know you have a trip coming up or if you're about to travel somewhere, make sure you take the extra step before you go, maybe a week before you go or 2 weeks before you go, call to make sure your passport is good, in a good condition. Nobody has reported anything before you go. You know what I mean? So that way you don't waste your time, your money, and everything else. Let me know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.